Every morning, millions of people wake up, go to work, come home, sleep, and repeat the same cycle, day after day, year after year. Not because they love it, but because they don't know what else to do. On the surface, everything seems normal. Bills are paid, goals are pursued, responsibilities are met. But deep inside, a question quietly waits. What is all this for? It's a question many people spend their entire lives avoiding. Because if they stop long enough to ask it, they might not like the answer. Modern life has taught us how to stay busy, but it hasn't taught us how to find meaning. We're surrounded by more convenience than any generation before us. More entertainment, more technology, more opportunities. Yet anxiety is rising. Burnout is becoming common. And countless people feel as though something essential is missing. Not because they lack comfort, but because they lack direction. Imagine walking for days across a desert. Every step feels heavier than the last. The heat is relentless. Your body is exhausted. Now imagine someone tells you that just beyond the next hill, the people you love are waiting for you. Suddenly, the same road feels different. The same pain becomes bearable. Not because the journey changed, but because the reason for the journey did. More than a century ago, a philosopher named Friedrich Nietzsche captured this truth in a single sentence. A sentence that has inspired thinkers, psychologists, athletes, and ordinary people for generations. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. At first, it sounds simple, almost obvious, but hidden inside these few words is one of the deepest insights ever written about the human spirit. Because life will bring suffering. That much is certain. Disappointment, failure, loss, heartbreak. No philosophy can erase them, but purpose can transform them. Tonight, you'll discover why some people remain unshaken in the face of incredible hardship, while others collapse under far lighter burdens. And by the end of this video, you may begin to see that the greatest question isn't, how can I avoid suffering? But what is worth suffering for? Friedrich Nietzsche wasn't a man who lived an easy life. He wasn't a celebrated philosopher during his lifetime. He wasn't surrounded by admiration. In fact, much of his life was marked by loneliness, poor health, and long periods of isolation. From a young age, Nietzsche suffered from severe migraines, chronic pain, failing eyesight. There were days when even reading or writing became almost impossible, the very thing he loved most. Thinking often came at a tremendous physical cost. Yet he continued, not because life was easy, but because he believed something was more important than comfort, meaning. He spent countless hours walking alone through forests and mountain paths. Many of his greatest ideas didn't come from crowded lecture halls. They came during long walks in silence, where there was no applause, no audience. Only a man wrestling with life's deepest questions. Why do we suffer? How should we live? What makes a life truly meaningful? These weren't academic exercises. They were personal battles. Nietzsche looked around and noticed something. Everyone wanted happiness. Everyone wanted comfort. Everyone wanted an easier life. But life refused to make that promise. Pain arrived anyway. Loss arrived anyway. Failure arrived anyway. So instead of asking, how can I avoid suffering? Nietzsche asked a far more powerful question. How can suffering itself become meaningful? That single question changed everything. Imagine a sculptor standing before a massive block of stone to someone else. The hammer and chisel look destructive. Pieces of marble fall away with every strike, but the sculptor sees something different. Every blow reveals the statue hidden inside. Life often works the same way. The hardships we experience, the setbacks, the disappointments, may not simply be breaking us. They may be shaping us. This is why Nietzsche believed purpose mattered so deeply. Without purpose, pain feels meaningless. Every obstacle becomes another reason to quit. Every failure feels like proof that life is unfair. But with purpose, the exact same struggle becomes part of the journey. A mountain climber doesn't curse the steep path. They expect it, because the summit is worth the climb. This didn't mean Nietzsche glorified suffering. He wasn't saying pain is good. He was saying that pain without meaning can crush the human spirit, while pain connected to a worthy purpose can reveal strengths you never knew you had. History quietly supports this idea. Artists, scientists, explorers, inventors, many endured years of rejection, failure, and hardship. What kept them moving wasn't comfort. It was conviction, a reason to continue, a why. And that brings us to one of the most important realizations in philosophy. If suffering is unavoidable, then perhaps the question isn't whether life will test you. Perhaps the real question is, what is powerful enough to keep you walking when the road becomes difficult? Imagine two people carrying the exact same weight. The first is forced to carry it. Every step feels unfair. Every moment feels like punishment. Now imagine the second person. They carry the same weight. But inside that backpack are supplies for someone they love. Suddenly, the burden feels different. Not because it's lighter, but because it has meaning. This is what Nietzsche wanted us to understand. Life doesn't become easier because you find purpose. The storms don't stop. The setbacks don't disappear. Pain doesn't ask whether you're ready, but purpose changes the way you carry it. It gives suffering a direction. Without purpose, pain feels like a dead end. With purpose, pain becomes part of the path. Think about a seed buried beneath the ground. From the outside, it looks trapped, surrounded by darkness, crushed beneath the weight of the soil. But the seed isn't being buried, it's being planted. The same pressure that seems to imprison it is preparing it to grow. Sometimes life feels exactly like that. The pressure isn't always there to destroy you. It may be preparing you for something greater. Many people spend years asking, why is this happening to me? Nietzsche would encourage a different question. What can this make of me? Notice the difference. The first question looks backward. The second looks forward. One keeps you trapped in resentment. The other opens the door to growth. History is filled with people who discovered their purpose through hardship. An athlete loses a championship, then trains harder than ever. A writer receives countless rejection letters, yet finishes the book that changes millions of lives. An entrepreneur watches a business fail, only to build something stronger. Their pain wasn't meaningless, it became fuel. The obstacle became the teacher. Think about how steel is made. It isn't created in comfort. It enters the fire, again and again. Each strike of the hammer shapes it. Without the heat, without the pressure, it never becomes strong enough for its purpose. People are not so different. The challenges you face today may be shaping the strength you'll need tomorrow. But there's another danger: living without purpose. Imagine a ship crossing the ocean, without a destination. Even calm waters become frustrating. Every wave feels unnecessary. Every storm feels unbearable, because there's nowhere to go. Now imagine that same ship sailing toward a meaningful destination. The waves haven't changed. The wind hasn't changed. Only one thing has: direction. Purpose transforms endurance into progress. This is why some people seem remarkably resilient. It's not because they never suffer. It's because they know what they're suffering for. A parent sacrifices sleep for a child. A doctor works through exhaustion to save lives. An artist spends years mastering a craft. None of it is easy, but meaning makes the sacrifice worthwhile. So ask yourself, when life becomes difficult, what keeps you moving? Is it fear? Is it habit? Or is it something deeper? Because if your purpose is strong enough, then even your hardest days become chapters, not the end of the story. And once you discover a reason that is truly worth living for, you'll begin to understand exactly what Nietzsche meant. The question was never whether life would ask you to suffer. The question has always been, what is your why? So how do you find a why? The truth is, you don't always discover it in a single moment. You build it. One decision at a time, one sacrifice at a time, one meaningful step every single day. Purpose isn't something that suddenly appears. It's something that grows as you commit yourself to what truly matters. Here's a simple exercise inspired by Nietzsche. One you can begin tonight. It only takes a few minutes, but it may change the way you see your life. Step 1. Ask yourself one question. What would I willingly suffer for? Notice the wording. Not what do I enjoy, not what makes me comfortable, but what is worth enduring difficulty for? Because the answer points toward your purpose. A loving parent loses sleep for their child. An artist spends years mastering a craft. A doctor studies through countless nights to save lives. The struggle is real, but so is the reason. Step 2. Choose one meaningful action, not 10, just one. Write the first page, make the phone call, start the workout, read one chapter, take one step toward the life you want. Purpose isn't found by waiting, it's revealed through action. Every meaningful life begins with a small decision repeated consistently. Step 3. When life becomes difficult. Remember your why. There will be days when motivation disappears. Days when nothing goes according to plan. Days when quitting feels easier. In those moments, don't ask yourself, how do I escape this pain? Ask instead, why did I begin? Your purpose will often give you strength long after motivation has disappeared. The world will always offer distractions. Comfort, easy pleasures, shortcuts. They promise happiness, but rarely provide fulfillment. Purpose is different. It asks more of you. It demands patience, discipline, sacrifice. Yet in return, it gives something comfort never can. A reason to keep moving even when the road becomes difficult. Look at nature. A river doesn't carve through stone because it's powerful in a single moment. It succeeds because it keeps flowing, day after day, year after year. Purpose works the same way. It isn't one grand achievement that transforms a life. It's the quiet decision to keep moving forward. Even when no one is watching, even when progress feels invisible. Nietzsche wasn't telling us to chase suffering. He was reminding us that suffering without meaning breaks the spirit. But suffering connected to a purpose can build extraordinary resilience. The difference isn't found in the pain. It's found in the reason behind it. And perhaps, that is what separates a life that merely exists from a life that truly matters. One day, every achievement will fade. Every possession will be left behind. Every applause will grow silent. But the life you built, the people you loved, the courage you showed, the purpose you lived for, those are the things that give your story meaning. So don't spend your life asking for an easier path. Spend it searching for a purpose worthy of the path you're already walking. Because in the end, life doesn't ask how comfortable were you. It asks, what did you live for? And perhaps the most important question you'll ever answer isn't, what do I want from life? But, what kind of reason would make me willing to give my life everything I have?